Hello, boys and girls. And I was going to say mostly boys in a whisper, but I'm not this time because our female listenership is up to 43%. Boom! Welcome to Bruno's You Don't Have To, the short form podcast where I try to make you chuckle one time in 4 minutes or less. I usually fail.
You don't need to laugh a little, say nah, I'm good.
I used to try to plan for these episodes, but I never know what to say until I start talking. Today's no different. That's why it takes me like 18 hours to make a single 3-minute podcast.
Nah, I'm good. Live your life the way you actually would.
When I was a kid growing up, my dad used to take me to the liquor store with him. A lot of times we go to the drive-through liquor store. That was an idea, huh? Let's pull in, we'll give you a whole case of beer, booze, whatever you need right in your car. They also gave me a pretzel stick. Might be the reason why I like pretzels so much as an adult. Yesterday I went to the dispensary, and a lot of dispensaries around here are buying up old banks, which is really cool because then you have a drive-through pickups of marijuana is a whole lot easier than having to go in line. Inside, I choose that option. I was in line yesterday. The woman in front of me was driving a minivan, and she was obviously a mom, and there was a child's head poking up over the rear seat, obviously on the screen because the head was slightly downturned. My initial thought, why would you bring your kid here? Besides that thought being extremely judgy, it also doesn't make any sense. I want my kids to be potheads. That's a weird thing to say, but that's what I want. Booze is so bad for you. Where do these ideas and expectations come from? How do they enter into our brain? For me, it came from the old women in my life, aunts, great aunts, people who consider themselves aunts, that whole crew, these cultural expectations. When are you going to have a baby? Or after you have a baby, when are you going to have another baby? Those are all cultural pressures that sometimes we don't even think about. I didn't think there was a different way to go with life. I thought I had to get married. I know I didn't have to. That was the expectation. I started a new job some years back. I remember walking around with a colleague, being introduced to my other colleagues, and one woman I spoke to, we got to talking, and she started talking about her family and how she doesn't have any kids, and I just said, that's fantastic, congratulations, you must have so much money. We got done with that conversation, and the colleague looks at me, he's like, you can't say stuff like that to people. What do you mean? You can't say to someone, congratulations for not having kids. What if they wanted kids? I see two positive outcomes here. Either they didn't have kids because they didn't want to have kids, and I'm congratulating them, so that's fine, or they didn't have kids, they wanted to have kids, and now they have a shit ton of money, unlike the rest of us, so that's a positive for them too. He was a Catholic, though. He thought he had to have like 15 kids. I'm going to start thinking about where my judginess comes before I start judging. Jack Kerouac wrote about living a life of non-interference with others, and maybe I should keep that in mind next time I am in line at the drive-thru at the dispensary and there is a minivan in front of me driven by a young mom with a child in the backseat, and she's just trying to pick up some infused pre-rolls for the weekend. Smoke them if you got them, hon.